for sure that we're working. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. We should be live right now and streaming. Please let us know in the chat if everything's working and if you're hearing us loud and clear, because the auto start didn't work.
Yeah, welcome, everybody. How about we maybe start with the rounds of introductions for the people who might not know us or the channel?
Well, just wait for the confirmation that we're actually live before we start saying things that aren't actually working. Because if I'm checking it on my phone, it's also not working right now, so...
We might still be in stream delay land.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Let's wait until we have confirmation we're live before we start.
I just gotta... Oh yeah, there we go. Notification that we're live. We seem to be live right now. It was a bit of a delay. Hello, everyone.
We are telling us that we're live.
So we are indeed live. We had some minor technical difficulties, but welcome to another Lowlands Wargaming live stream this time. And as you may have noticed, there's 3 of us here instead of 2. We decided to up the ante a little bit with some more speakers and some more hosts for your viewing pleasure. This time we have the, well, I would say the great honor to preview a 2-day event, which is the first time for us as well. There are not that many of those in the Netherlands. So yeah, a warm welcome to Dirk Jan, who is the organizer of the long expected tourney, and my co-host of the podcast, Tim, who is also present today to discuss these sweet lists that we're going to be looking at.
Yeah, hello everybody. How are you all doing tonight? Or today, depending on where you're from.
Yes. As always with these live streams, we try to make it as interactive as possible, so do participate in the chat if you have any questions or just remarks on the list that we'll be showing. We'll make sure to reply to you on stream. And if you're watching later, you can always place a comment and maybe I'll probably get back to you. I do check my phone every now and then for YouTube comments that are placed on the channel. For now, I would like to pass the baton to Dirk Jan and introduce this tournament that we're going to be discussing today.
Yeah, this is a tournament to celebrate Bilbo's birthday. I noticed when I started organizing last year that we didn't have one of those, and I find that a horrible shame. I was planning originally to do this 1 week later to actually be on Bilbo's birthday, however, my location wasn't available. So we're 1 week earlier, and I'm gonna call this close enough. And of course, Bilbo's birthday has to be celebrated with a bigger tournament. So I've upped the amount of people that can be there. So I've rented the second room in the location, and we are going for 2 days, so we can really celebrate in style.
How many players are we expecting, Dirk Jan?
Currently, there are 39 signups.
Awesome.
Assuming that no one drops out, that'll be 39 players and a ringer, so that is roughly capacity.
Yeah. Should somebody be watching or listening to this and has not yet scored his or her ticket, go for it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's gonna be an awesome
You'll
event.
even have inside information on all of the lists.
Yeah.
You will, however, be playing 2 tournament points down because your list will be past the deadline.
Oh, no. You shouldn't say that.
You're just joining for the fun of it. Do it. There's the last slot. Be the last one.
Yeah.
Are there any things that our watchers or participants should be aware of, Dirk Jan, before we start discussing the lists?
Yeah, there is a model limit of 100 models. I didn't think it was possible to go over. Someone made it pretty close. We'll get there when we see that one. Maelstrom is adapted to alternate warbands, and heirlooms as a few changes to make it a more fun experience for everyone.
Yeah, so I think basically in summary, heirlooms has been changed so that there are basically 6 heirlooms all worth 1 point. They're just light objects that you can immediately pick up.
There is a digging roll on a 4+.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so you do need to dig. Okay.
Yeah.
And they do all have the transfix effect. So there's
potentially. I left that in just to prevent it becoming a scramble to grab it with one model and then just run to a corner.
Yeah.
To sort of give a bit more play there, I left the transfix in.
Yeah, very nice.
Fair enough. Yeah. And I think it might be worth mentioning that this is a veto tournament as well, right?
Yeah, pool-wise veto. So each pool will be played once. And yeah, veto.
Sure. Yeah,
That
and
might matter.
I think you might. Do you roll for pools or do you just go by number?
We'll be rolling for the order.
Yeah.
Makes
Fair enough.
sense. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And then the person, and then you have a roll off, and the person who rolls lowest gets the veto first, I believe, right?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
how I've described it, because vetoing first is a disadvantage, so the person who loses the roll off should do that first.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, we
I'm
have quite
really
a few
excited.
lists to go through. Shall we get started?
Yeah, without any further ado, our first list.
Oh, and maybe we should mention, because there's a new supplement, and we did decide, or Dirk-Jan graciously decided after much peer pressure from everyone else to allow the new supplement, we have decided to keep the lists involving the new supplement for last, so that we can have a discussion about the new goodies that we are going to be playing with this weekend. So we'll start
No,
with
this
all of the quote-unquote old lists.
yeah, this was asked in the run-up to the release date of the supplement coming out, and I said if it comes out before the list submission deadline, it will be allowed. It came out exactly a day before list submission deadline, so it is allowed.
There you go. And a lot of people are speed painting right now. I see Larry in the chat. I know he has a lot of Arnor on his painting table. So, yeah, we'll discuss his list later.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, for now, first list, Akim's list, which is Minas Tirith with Elisar, Hurin, and Imrihil allied in. 30 models. Any thoughts on this list?
I mean, it's three heroes that hit really hard and a pretty decent shield wall. It's really low on model count, as you expect with big heroes like this. Akim likes to playing elite armies, so it's not a surprise to me that he's chosen for something with relatively low model count. I was looking at this and was like, this is pretty cool, but you could also take the fancy new Earner instead of Imrihil, which fills the same role, and then you have some more bodies. But I
But
won't,
then
like,
you do lose the army bonus.
you do lose the army bonus, which
Yeah.
matters, I guess. But, don't underestimate Imrihil's banner as well, right?
Yeah,
The
true.
coverage is really nice. I mean, sure, you also have Elisar's 6-inch banner, but Imrihil allows you to cover that over a wider area, so
Yeah.
that can make up for the numbers a little bit. But yeah, this will hit like a truck if you don't have a way to deal with mounted heroes.
Yeah, this like the battle line here with the guard of the Fountain Court in front, spears behind, two banner effects going on, Aragorn with the unlimited might for moves. I mean, if you can get into a bottleneck, this can really slow you down.
Absolutely. And it's also surprisingly speedy, of course, with the free marches. Like, don't underestimate that either.
Yeah,
One of which is from Aragorn, so can be done freely
Yeah, that's what I meant.
in the first few turns.
Yeah.
Oh, free.
You
I heard
free,
3 marchers.
No, no,
I was
no.
confused for-
No, Huron doesn't have March. I don't actually know if Imrihil has March. I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next list.
Yes.
We have a host of the Dragon Emperor.
Ah, yeah, I'm very familiar with this. We have a Dragon Emperor of Ruin. We have Brogan. We have Rutabi. It makes a lot of sense at 750. 40 models in total, mostly because there are no acolytes in this list. There's just a whole bunch of regular Eastlings and only 2 Cataphracts, 1 with a drum, and 2 Honesty Bows. And also, we have a War Drake making an appearance, just a single one in Rutabi's warband. So quite high model count, especially considering the Emperor nerf. Normally you would be able to get 40 models as well at 750, but not while running acolytes or multiple Cataphracts. Yeah, I mean, it's the Emperor Legion. Super solid, 5/5, large banner effect.
yeah.
Very hard
Yeah.
to deal with.
I really think it's a big ball move to take a War Drake. I really like it.
Mhm.
It's cool. Like, it's
Yeah.
not particularly good, but it's cool. I love it.
Yeah. The cool factor is there.
Mhm.
Awesome. Yeah.
We have our next list, which is in Assault on Helm's Deep with 2 ballista, shaman, and an extra captain, and I believe 1 demolition team.
Yeah, it's in
And
the
then
Shaman's
7
warband.
crossbows, some berserker sprinkled through.
Yeah. I really like the addition of the shaman right here, because I think you at 750 you get to come across quite a lot of terror, and having the shaman in there really just has a nice counter to that.
You don't usually see an Uruk-hai Shaman, though. Like, it's not something that I've seen a lot on the tables.
Yeah, I think Uruk-hai are base courage 4, right? The warriors?
Aren't they 3?
I don't know for sure. I thought there were 4,
I'm
but
gonna have to look it up
with
now.
with the prevalence of the Witch King everywhere and the Harbinger of Evil, it
Yeah,
gets put down to
and
like 3 or 2.
with
So
the brand new supplement being allowed, there's a fair expectation of a lot of Angmar on the table. I think.
I
yeah,
mean, sure, but then you just set will the shaman, so it's not like it'll do that much,
True.
if I'm really
yeah, but it
honest.
can also counter like Kiradans or maybe Lady of Light Galadriel's models such as that.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Let's see.
You
Yeah, the
looking
Curse
up?
3. Curse 3.
First
Yeah,
three.
Yeah.
Curse Free. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I can
I
see
think
it.
it's a good call.
Yeah. And it
See
helps that
how
he
it.
also has larger warband size, right? Because that's normally kind of annoying with shamans only being able to take 6 models.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about the lack of heroic strike in this list?
Well, you don't need strike if you can just blow heroes up with a bomb or shoot them with a ballista. That's assault on the Helm's Deep answer, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't fight
Uh,
things, you shoot them or you blow them up.
yeah. Well, I don't have a lot of experience playing against this, but you can target shooting with the flaming brand Berserker or even the bomb itself. And at 750, it's not uncommon to get like 15 to 20 bow shots a turn.
Yeah, but that's assuming that they don't die to ballistas first.
Yeah, true, true,
There
true.
will be a lot of shooting in both directions, and whoever hits more might come out ahead there.
Yeah,
I'm mostly annoyed at the fact that there's 2 points left on the table. Just I don't know. That just bothers me.
yeah. It's not fully optimized for
Yes,
Kevin's eyes.
it hurts me. It hurts me
I
deeply.
just got a message from Larry that for some reason he's unable to chat, but that shamans in this list are always wrong.
I mean, I don't disagree with him, but I also said to Tim that I wouldn't go too hard on people's lists because these aren't necessarily people that ask for feedback. So
Yeah, fair.
no, I mean, Assault on Hell Demon is always solid, right? Even after the nerfs, it's still really good, and
Yeah.
this will hit really hard in just the right annoying ways if your list can't handle it or if it's the wrong scenario. Like this can do really well.
Especially with veto, right? Because you can just veto out certain scenarios where it has a weakness, like something like contest. So it makes it even more powerful.
Yeah, I think it's time to move on to the next list,
So is it
which
maybe
is
true
the
that
next
more
two
people
lists.
can't chat because it's awfully quiet in the chat? If more people can't chat, can you say something in the Discord or say something in the chat so that we know it's still working for you guys?
Yeah.
If you can't
In the
say something in
meantime,
the chat, say something in the chat.
in the meantime, we have two lists that are identical. I double checked; they are in fact using the same Nazgul as well.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
we have the Necromancer. There's a story behind this. So Cornet signed up for this tournament first and felt like taking the Rise of the Necromancer. He got tips from the community that Jeroen is the master of the Rise of the Necromancer, having taken it to Articon as well and doing really well with it. They had some practice games together, and then I think a week ago or something, with like the new supplement and stuff going out, Jeroen got a little bit hyped again and decided to sign up, bringing, of course, the Rise of the Necromancer. So we have a true master and apprentice story here, and it'll be very interesting to see who will end up ranking the highest, whether it's the master or the apprentice. Very keen to find out. Because Cornet also definitely knows what he's doing, right? So it's not like Jeroen's a slam dunk to end up on top here. But he definitely has more experience with the list.
What's that Star Wars line again? There are always two.
Almost two there are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at it. I was like, is this being co-piloted? Is someone going for day one and someone going for day two? But it's just two identical
It's
lists. Okay.
just two identical lists.
Yeah. This can be really cool to play against if you manage to slay a few Nazgul, or what do you say? Yeah, Nazgul. But it can also be really annoying. It can be really a pain in the ass to deal with. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering how good they will do.
I'm also wondering if that Morgul Blade ever goes off. Because they don't often do it. When they do, it tends to matter.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're best off like using a Morgul Blade against models like a Gullivar, right? That have no fate, or an Eagle
Yeah.
or something like that. I think
So
that's
I'm
the best,
getting
the best
messages from
option.
people that the chat is not working. So I'm going to try and fix that in the background. But yeah, we're just going to have to deal with not having a chat for now.
All
I
right.
do apologize. I'm not sure why. YouTube must have fucked something up.
Yeah.
Then for now we'll go on to the next list, which is among my favorite lists in the set.
Yes, Dario.
Yeah, we have Treebeard, Merry, Captain of the Shire, Pippin, Captain of the Shire, Frodo of the Nine Fingers, Hallfoot Bracegirdle, and Gwahir, and then a load of hobbits thrown in for fun, ending up at exactly 50 models and 15 bows.
Yeah. And even more throwing weapons because of the throw stones, right?
Yeah, and of course all the hobbits have the throw stones.
Yeah. So am I right in thinking that Treebeard right now doesn't have Merry and Pippin on top because they are in another part of
Correct.
the list? Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have his war gear, Merry and Pippin with him.
Yeah, so that makes it that Treebeard does not have magic resistance, I think.
Ooh, I am not sure.
Well, their army bonus says they can't be moved against their will and stuff like that. I'm not sure it's...
But I
magic
think this
resistance
is
might
a
be part of
yellow-
his profile.
This is
Yeah.
a yellow alliance, right?
Oh no, they
Yeah,
definitely
but-
lose their army bonus.
Yeah, because of Gwyer, the Misty Mountains edition.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah.
I
Still,
think it's a cool list.
It's super themey.
Yeah, well, is it
Gwyer is
though?
the one
With
thing.
Gwyer, is it?
Everything but Gwahir is super themey, and I will forgive Gwahir in this situation.
Yeah, I really like it. I've played against Dario a few times, and he always brings like these types of lists. He likes to run either elves mixed in with some other stuff or hobbits. I think those were his two favorite armies, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, he's really fun to play against, and I really love this army as well. It's unique. It has two major hitters that can really tie you up. But of course, the hobbits are a bit weaker, so you really have to know how to position them, how to play them, and really optimize how you're going to use Treebeard and Gwahir. So I think it can have some really nice interactions on the tabletop, and yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I think the hobbits aren't that important in this list, though. None of them are worth points, usually.
Yeah.
So you can just use them to bog down the army until Treebeard or Gwahir can get to them.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Uh,
hobbits are famously bad at bogging things down, though, because it takes them forever to get there in the first place.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's why we have veto, right? So you can veto out scenarios where you really have to move a lot.
I mean, there's literally a pool called movement scenarios, so it's not like you're going to be able
Yeah,
to dodge
okay.
all of those.
Yeah, you're not dodging them, but I think there's some slight optimization chances there. But if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't used any upgrades for Meriadoc or Peregrine, right? To upgrade the hobbits. Some can get.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he has. And I think Peregrine, from his profile, does have a Warhorn, if I'm not mistaken. So to get +1 courage, which is good. I think especially in this in the current state of the game. But I don't think there are any upgrades to hobbits, so just regular hobbits.
Yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. For now, let's keep moving
Yep.
to
We have a Witch King of Angmar.
a Witch King, a Shadow Lord, Suladan, Numenorians, Moranans.
This is a very familiar sight. This
Yeah.
classic Mordor Serpent Horde alliance with Suladan in for the big banner. And the next hero after Witch King and Suladan is this time Shadow Lord to help with those shooting wars. And to also help with shooting wars, there's 11 Orc Trackers for 11 4+ bow shots, as well as 8 Haradim with bows. So 19 bows in total, it all hit on 4+. It's pretty good.
Yeah, this is pretty good, yeah. Oh, I think we're back on chat.
See something in chat happening.
Yes, chat's working again. Everybody
Yes.
spam the chat and make up for lost time. Yeah.
Dump all the
Stupid
questions
YouTube.
right now. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, Max, a good point. There is indeed no extra will on this Witch King, so it's a very
Yeah.
budget Witch King. Only 130 points.
Yeah,
That's including the crown, horse, etc.
I was surprised seeing it, the budget Witch King. It has 10 will, I think.
yeah, 10 will is base for the Witch King.
Yeah, it's I think he probably then will mostly be a caster, I think.
Yeah, that's just going to be one die casts all game,
Exactly.
probably, with the reroll.
Yeah. I think you have a bit of a weakness against other casting lists. Like being sap willed is a real threat to the Witch King, especially if it gets channeled.
This is a very heavy shooting list though, with the 11 trackers and
yeah,
the 8 head bows.
Yeah,
yeah, I
so
think
this list is very much designed so that it 100% will win the shooting war, and the opponent has to come towards you, and this will give you a little bit more time to be more sparing with your casting and stuff. I still don't like only having 10 will on the Witch King, but it could work.
yeah,
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 and
exactly. Yeah,
Fan is one of the players who could probably make it work.
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, the bow shots are pretty insane. You definitely have shooting advantage a lot of the time. So and 50 models is nothing to sniff at.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, it's really high.
And I think for context, Fan is currently sixth in the league.
Yeah.
And with this being a 100-point event,
Yeah, what to watch out for.
could get into the podium.
Yeah.
This will be a big upsetting tournament for the league because the first player in the league is also not attending.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
So that could cause some big swings. Anyway, next list we have.
Hugo.
Yeah. I'm not sure if he realizes this is a Red Alliance. This is Kingdom of Moria, and Balin makes everything red.
Yeah. What is the army bonus for Moria?
I have no idea.
The army bonus is re-rolling once to wound, so it's not really the army bonus that's the matter. It's more the fact that if Guire dies, which is possible, then the entire army counts as broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that was a realization. Is Hugo in the chat, maybe, or someone who knows Hugo? Really wondering right now.
No idea.
Yeah. Well, besides that, I think we already seen like 2 Guayers or 3.
It should also be noted there is an eagle in here, not just Guahir. This is effectively a 500-point Moria list with Guahir and an eagle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So also, if the eagle dies, oh no, that's half, so you're not broken yet.
I think you need to kill then Guahir and the eagle for the army to be broken. Kevin, can you?
You need to kill
confirm?
both.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't see the eagle at first.
Yeah. Yeah. So that might be a bit of a risk, but on the other hand,
Still, killing 2 eagles is not trivial.
Oh no, it's definitely not easy, but it depends on how they're played with as well, because it's very easy to be a bit reckless with the eagles and YOLO them in somewhere if you see the opportunity, and then just lose them on the next turn.
yeah.
Saying as someone who made those mistakes when I started playing with Guy here.
Yeah. Same here.
Not anymore, but
Yeah.
here's a
And
learning
with
curve.
Gullivar as well.
Yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah, which
Oh.
is the biggest list in the tournament.
98 models.
98 models. This person
Oh,
really
boy.
was looking for that model limit. And it's just Goblin Town, all the named Goblin Town heroes, 2 Goblin Captains, Goblin Mercenary Captain. Gollum is with the King, just so he can grab a ring if he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Goblin Town, It's I think people are very familiar with what it does. It can do really well. Larry even got quite a run on in the Masters this year in Articon with goblins, a bit unexpectedly, I think. But yeah, that only goes to show that if it's being piloted correctly, yeah, it can be a really scary list.
Nah, Goblin Town is always a solid contender because in this game having more models it just generally is better. There's just a few scenarios that it really doesn't like, but Fido helps with that, and it's also kind of matchup dependent, right? If it comes up against another like semi-horde that just barely outfights it but still has a lot of models, it can also really struggle. So,
Yeah.
but in general, Goblin Town is just good. It's good.
The last time I had Goblin Town in one of my tournaments, I put him against Smaug in game 1.
No more match fixing, right, Dirk Jan?
No, only
Don't-
once.
Don't do that.
Put it against Smaug, yeah. I mean, did Smaug have anywhere to land on board, or was it just?
It was they ended up playing Storm the Camp, so
Oh,
I
wow.
think Smaug didn't need to land.
You need to fit like 100 goblins within your camp area.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smaug.
Oh, hello.
Speaking of,
You set that one up.
It wasn't even on purpose.
yeah.
I
Man,
love the background change, by the way. That's nice.
yeah,
Thanks.
nice touch. I mean,
Yes.
I think it's a cool move to just bring Smaug and just think the tell with the rest of those 50 points. Just go for flavor, bring Smaug while
Yeah.
you still can. I don't know how it will be in a new edition. This I think it's cool. You can have some really cool games with it. It can totally fluff and it can totally dominate, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
Smaug
Jesper's.
honestly, unironically, could do really well in the veto tournament.
Yeah, it could. Yeah,
I think Jesper has been playing low model count armies all year, and he just decided to take that to the extreme.
You can't get any lower than this unless you just don't bring an army and just concede every game or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like you bring models, but they're unpainted, so they have to be removed from the board. So you technically run a no model army. Big brain.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but yeah, I think it's
We're,
cool. Yeah,
On to a fake Last Alliance.
fake Last Alliance. Why is
Yeah,
this fake?
Isildur has the ring. The Last Alliance has this is past the Last Alliance.
Right. Okay.
past alliance.
This is what people would still call a Last Alliance army, despite
Yeah, I just don't accept this as Last Alliance, but effectively, Isildur, Glorfindel, Eddistor, a bunch of
Yeah.
elves.
Yeah.
I mean, it's last alliance, right? There's a few ways to run it. Usually, starting from 750, you also see some Elendil sprinkle in, but at lower points you usually see Isildur with the ring. And then it's just something picked from Rivendell, and Glorfindel is a really good pick in my opinion. And him not being the leader means you could just throw him in, and he can really get to work. And yeah, it's a good list. Only thing I saw that the Warband of Isildur wasn't filled up with Warriors of Numenor. Something I probably might have chosen differently, but then again, you do get to get some extra elves and also some extra bows, so that might be worth a consideration.
Yeah. Someone else in the chat mentioned there's no Círdan, which would also be my pick for third hero instead of Aristor.
Yeah, I think with Círdan, with this list, though, you run out of Warband slots,
Yeah.
Oh.
which might be solved by filling up Isildur's.
Yeah, exactly.
Or just running a second banner or Rivendell Knights or something.
Yeah, sure. You get 6 extra models in the warband with Aristor instead of going with Círdan, and Isildur still has 5 models left in his warband. So
Like
And Glorfindel has a couple left as well.
I wouldn't sleep on Isildur. He's obviously like the answer to all combat heroes, but the problem is there's quite a few Witch Kings and other ring wraiths floating around who just don't care that he's wearing a ring. So there's also like a clear answer to Isildur in many lists.
Yeah. And I think
but yeah.
the idea behind Glorfindel might be that he will be the Wraith counter, right?
Yeah. Someone is asking if we can put this versus Smaug in the first game, and I just promised no more match fixing, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, no max fixing. Yes, I said it's his first time playing, so he's no experience with Magic, so maybe he'll next time take Círdan.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Fair
I
enough.
think if that's the case, then Aristor is a really good pick. I think he's a really, what's the right word for it? Maybe a safe choice for like a secondary or tertiary hero.
Aristor is just really solid. Like
Yeah, he
he's
has
like
strike.
if you compare him to Haldir, right? Haldir is just disappointing, and Aristor is he's just good.
Oh man, how many times Haldir gets put down in our conversations?
Haldir's kind of like Faramir. He's like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I guess it's fine.
Okay.
Let's keep moving.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here we now have Army of Thror by another Jesse.
Ah, yes, more
Yeah.
yeses. Thor, Captain of Erebor and Thrain. So some really solid heroes there. A bunch of Grimhammers with Guardians of the King upgrade. And a whole lot of Warriors of Erebor. And also some Grimhammers and Thrain warband without the upgrade. A single banner to round it out for 43 models with 8 might. That's a lot of doors. 43?
Yeah, man. The Grimhammers get +1 strength, right?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I always get the two mixed up, the ones from Durin and the ones from Thor, but I think these are the ones that get +1 strength. So they are strength 4 instead of 3.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
the problems with this list might be mobility and maybe bows, but
Yeah, so there's no ranged. You do have 2 marches with the Captain of Erebor. There's 2 points of might there, so you can go 8 inches for 2 turns, and then you're slow. Um, but yeah, if it gets on the objective, or if there's no objective to stand on, and you just have to fight, then this is pretty solid. But yeah, there's definitely a risk of it just getting kited forever.
yeah, there's little bit of a risk that your opponent just can get to the center or the objective or wherever you want your army to be to get there first, and then the dwarves have to fight through. But then again, the strength 4 Grimhammers might just pull it off, maybe.
Yeah.
And these
well,
dwarves do have spears, right? So there
Yep.
are let me see, 10 spears in the army. So
No, 16.
13, 16, yeah.
17 with the banner.
what am I counting? Am I counting wrong to
3,
10?
7,
yeah,
6,
sorry,
and 1.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I missed one. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
it's
yeah.
basically almost the entire front ranking gets spear supports, which is something that Thor can do. Like it's the Kingdom of Moria is the one that struggles with spear supports. The other dwarves have invented, pokey things on long sticks. It's just Moria that doesn't know how that works apparently, unless it's like behind a really big shield for some reason.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Let's keep moving, and we have another Last Alliance.
but this is also not Last Alliance
This is
according to your
also a fake
definition.
Last Alliance. This time with Elrond, Lindir, and then Isildur with some Numenorians.
Yeah. Well, you don't actually know if Lindir was there, right? I think he was a creation by Games Workshop.
No,
No.
he shows up in the Hobbit movies.
He's an unnamed side character in the Hobbit movies that kind
Yeah.
of whines at Elrond for a little bit.
But I think that was created because of the first few movies. There was a bit of a fandom around Lindir
Yeah.
because he was in the first movie as well, and then GW decided to create a character around him. I think that's like the story,
He
right?
shows up in the background of the Council of Elrond, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. And people were like in
Um,
love with him somehow. I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
Games Workshop literally made a character out of an orc that jumps off a siege tower of 2 swords. So, I mean,
Yeah.
they don't
I mean,
they don't
Games
need much of
Workshop
an
does
excuse.
not need a lot of justification for a model.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, about the list. This is obviously going for more of a spellcasting approach to Last Alliance with Elrond and then Linder giving him 3 will points, I think it is, within 6 inches.
yeah.
So Elrond can cast Brunnen and stuff repeatedly.
And Linder gives all Rivendell models within 6 inches resistant to magic.
Oh, so
Yeah.
effectively the entire list is resistant to magic because Isildur does
Yeah.
the same thing for the Warriors of Numenor.
Yeah, I think that's the reasoning behind it. Like, it's usually a pick if you're going for this type of list. It's a pick between Lindir or Círdan, right? They're around the same points. And I think when you pick Elrond, and the way the theory behind this list, I can understand the pick for Lindir. And I really like it because you don't see Lindir quite that often. So this is more of a unique choice, which also gives some points, I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on the list. I just want to check one thing.
And also just a 50-50 shot at Wrath of the Brunnen for free every turn if you don't have to worry about resisting magic.
Yeah.
Can get really annoying for your opponent.
This is insane. I think Lindir that's reason Lindir usually is a priority for getting shot down.
Mhm.
He does have the heavy armor here, so I think he's defense 6, which
Yeah.
helps.
Yes, he has 2 wounds and 1 fate, but he only has 1 might point and nothing in his warband, so I'm a little bit worried on Maelstrom scenarios, but then you can always just roll for him first and then make someone else come up next to him, so...
Yeah, if Linder gets into combat, he doesn't tend to do very well.
No.
Yeah.
But as a support piece, he is amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. It's an interesting take on list. I like it. It's a little bit low on the model count, but
Yeah,
like it.
that's what I was about to mention. Yeah, 32 models.
yeah, it's just
So,
Elrond is so expensive.
Yeah, you really need to be protective with this list. Then again, Elrond does bring foresight, so you might have some priority advantages.
If your opponent doesn't also have foresight, which is possible these days.
Yeah,
Can
it's
happen.
I mean,
Yeah.
if I had a dime for models that had foresight, I'd have 2 dimes, which isn't a lot, but it's funny that it happened twice.
Yeah. Moving on, we have spiders.
Yes,
Yeah.
spiders.
Oh man.
There's a Shelob, there's a Spider Queen, there are giant spiders, and there's goblins that like spiders.
Yep.
And then the Mouth of Sauron.
Yeah. So is the mouth the leader here? Because I don't see a leader anymore.
Yeah, it's a good point. There's a few people who haven't checked the leader box. and I honestly don't know who has the highest hero tier here. Is the Spider Queen legend? Because she
Ooh,
might be.
could be. She is the only hero in that list.
I mean,
I have to,
first
have
of
the
all,
She's
wrong
it's
book
Valor.
cool.
open. She's Valor.
Valor.
Okay, well then it's could be Durbers or the Mouth of Sauron or the Spider Queen. But this definitely should be marked at the start of the tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah, I assume it's the Mouth of Sauron.
Same.
because he's on top. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's like a bit of a weakness, right? Having him out as a leader, but I'm suspecting he will just be hang back and usually and mostly do a bit of casting. But the rest of the list, I mean, it's a cool approach. I really like it. It's unique, and it can be super scary if it gets rolling because an enraged Shelob or an enraged Spider Queen, oh man,
Yeah,
uh,
that will be very scary.
that will ruin your day.
Yeah. It is
Yeah.
also a bit low on total models.
Yeah, and a lot of those
Um,
are very fragile, right?
Yeah,
Low fight
yeah,
values, low defense values. So this is a very fragile list that can hit incredibly hard. It's cool. I mean, it's flavor, right? It's just like I want spiders, and then you just take literally every like spider combination thing that you can have.
hmm
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and Larry does mention in the chat that there's veto. Weak leader is fine. I mean, I don't know because you still get points, victory points for leader wounds and kills in a lot of the scenarios. Almost
But
all of them, I
Yeah,
think.
the
but like the
Mouth of
point is
Sauron.
more that the Mouth of Sauron is like a hero that you can keep safe and not lose too much value because you can do a few spells with him, and then after that keep him behind the
Okay.
lines or run away, and you don't lose too much value out of it. Kind of like
Yeah,
Denethor behind the terrain piece, right? So
fair
yeah,
enough.
it doesn't
Yeah,
matter too
fair
much.
enough. True. Yeah, we'll just
So,
see how it works out.
moving on, we have an actual Last Alliance
Hey, there we go.
with an Elendil, a Glorfindel, and a Círdan. And
Yeah,
not very many models.
I feel like every time we see Last Alliance, we go down on the model count. It's like we're below 30 now.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is scary, right? I mean, you have two hero models that go like, I don't care about magic at all, and then you have a model that says, oh, I have all the buffs. Just give me all the buffs. If I have 3 turns, I can put up all the buffs, and we have terror. We're fearless. I think what other buff they? Oh yeah, blinding light.
Blinding Light.
Yeah, it can be fragile if you have a turn in which you lose a few models. It can really spiral out of control, but you're gonna have a hard time killing those models, right?
And
Yeah,
on
and
the
you know,
other
with
hand, you
free
also
hero combats, Elendil will do a good job at keeping like the race for model counts in your favor.
yeah,
There's also
and
10 bows here, so that's pretty good.
Elendil can get enchanted blades as well.
He doesn't need it.
No, he doesn't need it. Strength 5, burly, 4 attacks on the charge. That's insane.
Then you give it to Glorfindel, and you still have 2
Yeah.
ways
Exactly.
to wipe out
Glorfindel needs it
warriors.
more, especially against like
Mhm.
defense 7 stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it can hit like a truck. This one, especially the heroes, but you're gonna struggle in model count wise if you lose a few. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
But then again, you know, you can mitigate some of the scenarios where that hurts a
yeah,
lot by vetoing
yeah.
it.
Veto helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. Mordor Serpent Horde.
Hey, but this one's different.
This is a different one.
We don't
Yeah.
have a Shadow Lord, we have a budget ring wraith. So
We have a budget Ringwraith and Gorbag, and no troops from Hada, only Suladan himself.
yeah, and a Witch King with actual extra will, but also a Fell Beast. So again,
Yeah.
here I'm really curious which one is the leader. I'm not sure if Mats is in the chat, but is it Suladan or is it the Witch King? Because they're both legend, and there's arguments for both.
Here, in this case, I might say Suladan if you're trying to throw the Witch King with the Fell Beast in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would pick, but it's up to the player to pick, and also that should be noted before games start.
Yes.
Yeah. So 38 models, 750 points, mostly orcs. You do have a few Black Morannons sprinkled in.
Black
More than a few,
Numenorians.
actually.
Yes.
Black Numenorians. Yeah.
Yeah, and all the
Uh,
orcs are Morannons, so it's actually all D6 and a
Yeah.
few trackers, like 3. So it's not like some of those lists where the spear supports all regular orcs with like D4. So this is actually a pretty solid list in terms of a shield wall and hard to kill models.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, Matt
Mats is
says the
mentioning
Witch
in
King
the
is
chat.
leader.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So we will probably do some casting early game and then try to swoop in on a good opportunity with the Felbeast.
Yeah.
And the ring wraith, the budget ring wraith has 7 will base, if
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah. So he's good for Harbinger, which has nice synergy with Black Numenorians, and just two might for some move calling.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
or a March. I mean, Sulan can also do that, but the Ring Wraith also has
Yeah,
it like the base Ring Wraith. That's quite nice.
exactly.
Goreback
Yeah.
is also a pretty decent hero. Like if he's outnumbered, +1 fight, +1 attack. I think off the top of my head. So
Yeah.
pretty solid model as well.
Yeah.
I like Goreback as an addition. Yeah, so
Yep.
it's a good
Yeah.
list.
It's a nice list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have Menno with another of the Hobbit Gwahir list. So we
Oh
once
my
again
God.
have Gwahir, Eagle, and now Strider, Halbarad, Meriadoc, and Farmer Maggot.
Yeah. So this
Wow.
one actually has some mobility other than the eagle.
Yeah.
So there's another eagle and there's 3 dogs.
Yeah. And free march.
And Aragorn and Halbarad are on horse.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that's and a lot of March. This kind of reminds me, as well as the other list, like in Germany, there's like in Poland, there's a meta of people having like hobbits allied with elves, and then Gwahir, and then like the elves spear support the hobbits, and then you just have so many bodies and some fight 5 in key places and stuff. And actually, it does surprisingly well.
Yeah.
And it's for lists like that, and I suppose lists like this, that the new edition is just going to do away with things like that, which I
Yeah.
personally am pretty sad about.
I mean, I think this is some sort of a last hooray for like the ultimate soup list.
There are a few
And-
people who came up with I can still soup, I'm gonna soup now.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Menno is not watching right now. He mentioned so in a chat earlier. But I really love the list, Menno. Just don't play against me, please. It's really
Nice.
cool. I really like somehow because there's totally no theme. For me, there's a lot of flavor there, and I really like it. So yeah, good on
It's
it.
just yeah, it's just like fuck the story. I'm bringing these models.
Yeah,
You can't stop
screw
me.
you. Screw you guys.
And moving on, we have Marijn with Moria with the spider.
Yes, so it's Durbers as the leader again because you need to for the Valor. And then
Could be Spider Queen, theoretically.
oh no, I mean yeah, Durbers for the Moria contingent. You need to have a hero of Valor in there, and the only heroes with Valor in Moria are Durbers, the Dragon, and the Balrog. So Durbers is always the one being taken for making alliances like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a big speed, big queen, sorry, and the big watcher together in the list, and a single bat swarm to do the famous trick of having your watcher and your bat swarm next to each other, and the watcher is plucking heroes and other juicy targets into base contact with the spider or with the bat swarm, and then just killing them.
Yeah, again, I think it's quite a unique approach. Another soup list. 3 monsters. A bit squishy because of the goblins who tend to disappear quite fast, but I'll be damned if the Watcher and Spider Queen and the Cave Drake don't do some work.
A lot of hero hunting potential because the Cave
Yeah.
Drake has some chances for that. The Spider Queen's quite good at killing heroes, and the Watcher plus Bat Swarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like with this list, and Larry just mentioned it in the chat about the hobbits, but it also applies to this one. Like a lot of these armies that are like cheap stuff with big things next to them, there's always the risk of getting broken super early if the enemy gets a good engagement on your troops. Because your troops can't really hold their own against other armies that with a bit of hitting power, right? So that's always the risk running these kind of things.
Yeah, if your opponent has some sort of a monster and can get a good hurl off, that can be quite scary.
Yeah, or the watcher just refuses to come on,
Yeah. I've had that happen before, not for my own Watcher, but people who I've played against. It can be 3 turns in a row. I believe it was a game against Sil. Yeah, that was really frustrating for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a point left.
Just give
Oh,
like
man.
a spear guy a shield. Come on. It's like your chance to make like this one mascot for your army because he's different from everyone else.
Yeah, it's probably model availability, right?
I know.
Probably.
Yeah.
It just hurts me.
Move up to the next one, which is Nuri with Iron Hills.
This is a classic Iron Hills build. Dane, Ballista, Captain on a Goat. 33 models, which is pretty decent for Iron Hills, honestly.
Yeah,
And
it is.
10 crossbows in addition to the ballistas are really heavy on the shooting. Like,
Yeah.
really heavy on the shooting.
Yeah, 10 bows and a ballista.
Yeah. I'm really wondering, it's a bit off track here, but I'm really wondering if in the new edition they'll do something about not being able to shoot into combats if you're a good army. I think it's such a disadvantage. So
They're
yeah.
leaning more into flavor, so I doubt they'll remove that.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And currently, good shooting has been balanced for that effect because good shooting is significantly better than evil shooting on
Yeah.
average. I mean, there's of course things like Corsairs, but generally, good shooting is a lot better than evil shooting.
Yeah. I think he does have the crossbows and spear mix, so that makes it so the crossbow guys can also back up some models if the shooting
Yeah,
is.
I expect he'll build up a line, put the crossbows right behind it, and shoot until you get to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Do they get any penalties for having a crossbow and a spear?
Nope.
Oh, I thought. Oh no, I think that's with pikes,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So good pick.
Moving on, we have Lothlorien and Erebor reclaimed. So
Yes,
we have,
for Mr. Fecal.
Yep, we have Galadriel, Thorin, and Biffer, with some dwarves, some Galadrim, written down in the most space inefficient way possible, because everything has different war gear.
But that's just flavor, just to annoy the TO.
Shield
So
spear.
Biffer is the one that has the axe in his head. So if he does the strength 4 hit and does a kill or a wound with it, then the axe is removed, and then he can call free moves for the rest of the game. So you also frequently see Biffer allied into like survivors and stuff for that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I mean,
addition.
35 models with such an elite army is actually quite good, I think.
Yeah, like Thorin calls free hero combats, Galadriel has free will to cast, Biffer can potentially call free moves, so there's lots of resources to really carry you into the late game. I mean, of course, you first need to get that kill off with Biffer, but assuming that happens,
A strength 4 hit you should be able to manage.
eventually. I mean,
Yeah. Do we still have chat, guys, by the way? Because it's been a while since someone had typed.
yeah, Larry commented on the Iron Hills list, so
Oh, then it's just me.
And I'm also not getting it. So
I'm getting it in my like streamer window.
okay.
Apparently YouTube has issues. I'm hoping the stream is still working, but
Yeah, that would. Well, if you're still getting chat, I expect the stream is still working.
I expect so too.
Yeah, no chat for me, so I'll have to close.
Yeah, we'll continue on.
Oh yeah,
There's
still chat.
yeah, and I can now also see that. So anyway, another one of the lists that I love, which is Rainier, which is the Easterling captain. He specified to me that was his leader, and then just a lot of Kadis chieftains to write everyone down.
Oh my god.
This
Is this Rainier from the Unexpected podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's
Yeah.
living in the Netherlands
I mean,
at the moment, so
yeah, it's this can be so scary. I mean, put this up against the Goblin Town list, please.
oh
Please.
god.
That will be hilarious.
I think goblins are defense 4, right? Or 3? So force to wound
Yeah.
and 2 strength 4 hits on impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go ahead and put this up against each other just for the meme of it.
I'm
I mean,
afraid I promise no match fixing.
It lives and dies with the impact hits, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Khandish horsemen are super squishy as well.
I mean,
So-
as soon as you get something of a caster who can cast compel, they're in big trouble.
And it will also heavily depend on terrain. Because what is it? 5 chariots, it's hard to fit.
Yeah. How big are the bases for the chariot?
They're oh god, I think
50?
50 or 60
I
mil.
think 50, right? Or 60.
They're circles, but I don't know how
In
big.
any case, I think they have 1 will, right? So they're pretty
Yeah,
susceptible to
they are
magic.
quite susceptible to magic.
Yeah. I mean,
Then again, if one gets compelled, you have the other one.
yeah, you have the other 4. Yeah.
But yeah, then you compel one in front of all the other ones so they can't get past.
Right.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, 60 mil according to chat. Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
yeah.
This might also be a case of last hurrah because Kand is one of the factions that a lot of people are saying are getting legended. I'm
I
not sure.
don't think so. Like Tim and I are discuss it in the podcast episode that we just recorded. It should be out in a few days. We have a whole discussion on like the speculation about what might go into legacy and stuff like that. I don't think it will be as bad as some people make it out to be.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I'm currently editing it, so it'll probably out, depending on if I get my Shadow of Root Hour painted quickly. But it should be out fast.
Yeah.
But we'll not spoil that discussion much further, and we'll move on to our next list.
Yeah.
Which is Rick with Lothlorien, Misty Mountains, and Khazad-dûm, with Galadriel, Gwaihir, and a Dwarf King.
Yeah, and assuming Galadriel is leader here.
She has Gwaihir could be, but I assume Galadriel. Yeah.
Yeah, because again, there's no contest of champions to worry about.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, how many Gladios you see as soon as there's a veto tournament, because it's like, there's no contest of champions, and everyone's like, yes, I can take Gladio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, still, it might be a bit. People might be a bit too fearful for that 1 out of 16 scenarios that might pop up. You know, I've taken Galadriel before just to help with that scenario. But yeah, you really see her quite a bit more often as soon as veto goes up.
Yeah, so
I mean,
here we also see one solution to the problem we discussed earlier of Moria not having any spears. You just bring in elves.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I really like the 6 Galadrim Court Guard as well. That fight 6 can be really oppressive, and especially if you look at the meta right now with the prevalent fight 5. Like if you go up against other elves that don't have Guard of the Galadrim Court, you have such a big how do you say it advantage. I really like it.
Yep.
Yeah, and Wood of Sentinels are annoying.
Yeah.
No, and like on the subject of contest, I do get it with Galadriel because she's like literally incapable of making kills. Well, almost incapable of making kills because of the unarmed penalty. Like I do sometimes take Denethor to non-veto tournaments because Denethor can at least still make kills if you can stop the enemy leader. But for things like Galadriel, I know Larry has done it with the Master of Laketown sometimes. It's possible, it's an uphill battle, but generally I agree with the sentiment that people are a little bit too afraid for constant champions. But yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I understand it as well, because it sucks, right? If you bring a list like this and you have contests, you're like, fuck.
And again, Galadriel is really good at shutting down the enemy leader, so maybe that can balance it a bit.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in any case, that won't be a problem here. Yep. And that's how many times we've seen the big bird right now? 4 times?
I think that's number 4.
Yep, we're getting up there.
And this is the 3rd Mordor Serpent Horde combination.
Yes, and it's also played by someone who's currently 2nd in the league.
Yep.
Ronnie, a very good player, and very familiar with this combination as well. Ronnie has been playing Mordor for a long time, and also Mordor Serpent Horde combination, so I expect Ronnie to do quite well with this. 42 models. Witch King on of course on a horse crown, all the good stuff, 4 extra will, Shadow Lord against shooting, and like only 3 archers with the Haradrim, and the rest is just Black Numenorians and Morannons behind.
Yes. Yeah. 42 models of mostly Morannons and Black Numenorians.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a scary list, and I know that Ronnie pilots it very well. So, man. I mean, what do you have? What can we say that hasn't already been said about this alliance?
I mean, it's been around for a long time. It does well. It will continue to do well.
Yeah, exactly. It still will do well for at least a few months, and after that, I think Ronnie has to go back to the drawing table.
I mean, you don't know that.
I don't know it for sure, but I'm willing to take a bet on it.
I mean, the specific alliance probably doesn't work this way anymore, but you could still take just Mordor lists that are similar. So there'll probably be some other form of 6-inch banner effect in Mordor, like, I don't know, the Dark Marshal.
But maybe there will be less presence of the constant terror there.
Maybe. If the Black Numerals go away, which I doubt, but again, I'll save that for the podcast.
Spoilers. Here we have another fake Last Alliance.
Oh my god, another one.
And another Elrond Linder combination.
Yeah, it's again surprising that there's 2 of them.
Yeah,
how does this list differ from the other one?
Linder actually has some troops and doesn't have his armor or horse.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's like really budget will battery for Elrond.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it probably going to be a bit tricky getting Elrond that extra will because he needs to end or begin within 3 inches of Linder, I think.
6 inches
Six.
of Linder.
Six.
And he has it if he is within 6 inches of Linder. So you
Yeah,
could
exactly.
move Linder up, do the will, and then move Elrond, or in some other way.
Yeah, it's I'm hoping Roy has some practice with it, because Linder is defense 4 right now. He can be shot off the table
He needs
pretty
to be
easily.
behind at least 2 lines of elves,
At
preferably
least.
three.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So this list
yeah.
compared to the other one has one extra model, 3 extra bows, and an extra Rivendell Knight compared to the other one.
Right.
Similar Numenorian count. What I personally don't like is the choice to put the banner on a model that has a bow. Because
Right.
sometimes you want to have it stand still and shoot, or move half, while you want the rest to move full, and then your banner is kind of stuck there. What it really wants to be with your front rank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the difference between defense 5 and defense 6
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
as you're moving up is significant.
it's a
yeah.
really small thing, but it's just in practice
Well,
that can just be really annoying.
and the other thing is that if you want to be shooting with your banner elf, you need to be able to draw line of sight, which also means that your opponent is usually able to draw line of sight. If you have an elf as an opponent, you get your banner shot down on a 5.
Yeah,
I mean, you have things in base contact, so it's not the end of the
Sure, but
world.
it's not too uncommon to have like 2 or 3 elves getting shot down if you're up against other elves. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yep. Fair enough.
moving
Um,
further, we have Minas Tirith and Rohan.
Yes, Ruben is not unfamiliar with the Minas Tirith combinations, which I really appreciate. So we have a Bannermere. Very happy to see at least one Bannermere in the tournament. With five buffs to the Rangers and Guard and Fountain Court. Madriel for some support, and we know that we're playing Maelstrom at least once, so Madriel's special rule will come into effect once, maybe twice, if they also play Recon in another pool. And then there's, of course, Baragon on a horse for a little bit of mobility objective grabbing, and Theodred for some hitting power. And he's bringing 6 Royal Guard on horse. Like, sometimes Theodred gets allied in as a 1-drop, but he's actually bringing a cavalry contingent.
yeah.
So it's a 37 model list, so a little bit lower on the model count you could, but that's because of the addition of Theodred and the Royal Guards, which are quite heavy on the points. But they also hit really hard, so I quite like the addition there.
And this is a Green Alliance, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So
they have their
you
army bonus, strength 4 on the charge for the
exactly.
Royal Hounds, and +1 courage for Minas Tirith. Not
Yeah,
that you really
yeah,
need the courage on Minas Tirith because you have 11 guards at the Fountain Court here. But yeah, it's
yeah.
still nice to have.
You just don't have the fight 5 on the Royal Guard, I think, because Theoden isn't in there.
Correct.
Yeah, but still, fight 4 on the charge with strength 4, defense 6, quite nasty.
Yeah, and I see Rick mentioning in the chat that there's a. We were commenting on how many Gwairs there were. It's surprising there's not a Gwai here because usually Ruben takes Gwai here with Minas Tirith allied in. So this time it's a little bit different. It's Theodred instead.
Yeah, yeah. To Theoden and 6 Royal Guard is 185 points. So yeah, that's your
Yeah.
replacement right there.
I just want to like draw attention to the fact that we've seen only lists in like the 30 to 40 model range, and like one of a
Yeah.
little bit above, and then of course there's Goblin Town, which was like 98.
Mhm.
But generally it's decently light on the model count.
Yeah, that's where our meta seems to be at right now. Then, right?
Yeah,
With
this is
50 points.
also something that was noticeable at 1,000 points a few months ago. That even at 1,000 points, not many lists went that far above 50 models.
Yeah, yeah. And even a few months ago at Belfast, where we attended, I think at 800 points there isn't a big difference in model counts. Usually people just bring bigger toys, but not that much more models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that differs per country because I know in Germany higher model counts are really favored. It's a factor of the board build up in terms of terrain, the time for game rounds, and just generally personal preference, and that kind of like bleeds through the local community, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, any case, it's a good list, right? It does what it does, and I think the Power Court Guard are good. They have spears behind them. Theodred and his warband can hit like a horse, pun intended. So yeah,
Yeah.
Boo.
Moving on. Syl with Erebor Reclaimed, with Thorin, King Under the Mountain, Dwalin, and Gloin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sil took this list, well, almost this list. It was 800 points to Belfast. Did actually decently well with it because he hadn't been playing for a while. So that was a really good experience. And now he's back for some more Dwarven
Yeah.
action.
I
Fair
think
amount of
DJ
crossbows here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think DJ managed to convince Sil when we were over at Belfast to come to his
Uh,
tournament as well.
I convinced both Syl and Cornet while we were in Belfast.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, nice. With a
Yeah,
lovely
I
pint
mean,
of Guinness. Or cider, I think it might have been.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good list, right? And Sil managed to do pretty well with it in Belfast, even considering he hasn't had an opportunity to play that much lately.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, what can we say? It's a dwarf list, and you get a lot of free stuff with Thorin with the free row combats. If he manages to keep his goat, he's a really a scary model.
Yeah. Like
Yeah. The
you
only
could make an
thing.
argument for like downgrading someone for a captain so you have a march or like
Mhm.
taking Biffer for maybe the free moves late game or whatever, but it's a solid dwarf list. It will do well.
I am generally more of a fan of distributing the warriors and the archers a bit more evenly throughout the warbands, just to give yourself more flexibility. But there is a point to be made for having them together as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep a move on with Stein with Khazad-dûm.
This is actually a pure Khazad-dûm list. Like we've
Yeah,
seen
there's no
alliances,
guy here.
no Galadriels, no Gwairs. It's Khazad-dûm.
It's just a bunch of dwarves, fully armed and filthy.
Filthy. Give it the meat and give it to me raw. There is Durin, of course, and he has a few Hearthguard with him, which is nice. Not a full warband of Hearthguard, just a few sprinkled in because it is quite expensive upgrade. I love the King's Champion, such an efficient hero of the two banners, hero banners in there. It's just really solid. Dwarf
And
Captain
the
for a
defense
March as
9
well.
they hit collectively.
Well, I mean, yeah, but then you have to have them together. It's generally
Mhm.
smart to
Yeah.
spread at least one banner somewhere else in your army.
Usually is.
Because, like we mentioned earlier, like these dwarves don't know what spears are. So that's a struggle. There's also no Fault Warden teams, no. So that's no spears at all in this list. And there's a single ballista, which I do really like the addition of, because you need something to interact with your opponent, right? In
Yeah.
such a static army. So that's nice.
Yeah.
40 models, 40 angry dwarves with 9 bows and a ballista.
Yeah. It's
Yeah. So,
This is obvious. This is really obviously an army where the warriors do most of the heavy lifting, right? It's just such a solid block.
Yeah, and it'll spread out a lot because it's like again no spears, so you'll have dwarves everywhere. Like sure they move slow, but you can spread out.
Yeah.
You can try and wrap. You make it messy, and you try and win on trip quality.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
next, we have another
Go on.
guy here
Yeah.
with Survivors of Lake Town and the House of Thranduil. So Bard, a Lake Town militia captain, Legolas, and a bird.
Yeah. He's actually my normal playing partner. We usually play one game a week, I think. And yeah, this is what Thomas usually uses. He really, for the past like 5 weeks or something, has really been going in a few different places and on how he wanted to build his list out from starting from survivors, and actually just settled on Guar here. But I think it's a good choice. It's like the basic setup of cheap Lake Town militia with a spear, elven made spears in his backline, and Guar here to do some nasty stuff.
Yeah, the only spears that the elves don't outsource.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
those and the pikes from the guard, right? Or are those not?
Yeah.
No, those are also not
Really?
elven made.
Only these and Gilgalad's spear.
Lame.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Maybe they'll change that in the new edition.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
there is one more spear that's elven made, the Dragon Emperor's.
Oh yeah.
Yes, suddenly he found a war spear somewhere that the elves lost. And
Well,
haven't
obviously
managed to
that's
make
just a
it.
spear from Gilgalad that was like lost and never
Ah.
recovered, and
Yeah,
some orcs got their hold of it, and then it passed its way down to the Easterlings.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Anyway,
mean,
this list.
yeah, I've played quite a few times against this list in with using different armies. And Thomas really knows how to get the most out of his formation and setup. So his positioning is usually quite on point. I do have to say, I'm suspecting he uses weighted dice because he always manages to roll that 6 in his battle line. So annoying. But because of that, we usually have a bit of a joke that I tend to win the roll-offs and the big combats, and he tends to win the shoot-offs and the battle line combats, and that's how we balance our games out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a salt list. It's relatively fragile because there's only like 7 models of defense 6 in here in terms of troops. So if you lose, you're going to lose models relatively quickly. But because you have high banner coverage with Bard and Fight 5, you're not going to be losing a lot of fights if you play your cards right.
Yeah. And quite like not really a big shooting advantage, but Legolas really makes up for having a little bit under the higher amount of bows that you see in the other lists.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good.
Proceeding. We have Tim. This is other Tim.
Yeah, this
Tim S. Bringing Mordor and Spider Queen.
Yep. So Witch
Yep.
King, Shadow Lord, or Captain, Spider Queen in there as well. Some Black Numenorians, quite a few trackers as well with the Shadow Lord. Which makes sense, because if you have the Shadow Lord, you might as well bring trackers, right?
And the Spider Queen is bringing a Bat Swarm.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah, scary.
it makes sense.
Yeah, it is.
The Bat Swarm can help the Spider Queen, so you don't need strikes, you just win. Or
Yeah.
it can pair up with the Shadow Lord, or it can pair up with the Witch King. Like, any one of those combinations is good enough to take out, or at least win from most big heroes.
At least TIE fight everything.
Yes.
I think it's worth mentioning also that in my experience, this is the first time that we see a few Spider Queens sprinkled in the lists as well. I know that abroad, like in the UK and Australia, they tend to show up more often and they sing high praises of the Spider Queen. I actually never played against it in any tournament, and I don't seem to remember them showing up quite a lot. So this is a refreshing change.
Yeah, it's been played a few times here, but not a lot.
Not to this level yet.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
But Spider
think
Queen is really strong, especially with casting support. Like,
Yeah.
when I won Belfast last year, the only game that I lost narrowly was against Jakub Kochmal, and he had a triple Rave Spider Queen list. And it was just really hard to advance against.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. I do have to note that the Witch King here only has 12 will total. It's not too low, but it's mostly one die casts, I think here.
Yeah, and only 2 Fate as well on your
Yeah.
leader.
Yeah,
which is,
that's another thing I think we're seeing more in foreign parts, where more players are deciding to drop one Fate from the Witch King to get those 5 points elsewhere, like an extra will.
It's an extra tracker as well, right?
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think at lower points levels, at around 650, I tend to also just bring 2 Fate. I think it's worth a consideration bringing 3 when you're at 750, but yeah.
Fan is saying this is too will too much.
Fan's gonna regret his words when he just gets Sepp willed to death by other players who have more will than him.
Yeah. Could happen. Could happen.
Let's go on again to Tom, who is bringing my Belrog.
Yeah, I think I was going to mention he's keeping the DJ spirit alive in this tournament.
This is a friend of mine, and he will in fact be bringing my list. I just dropped one of the captains.
Nice.
And I think one warrior.
Yeah, this is what you brought to Belfast, right?
This is my
with
Belfast
captain.
list, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean,
I had some doubts whether to drop a captain and a warrior, or to just a captain and 2 warriors, or to drop a shaman. But 2 shatters is too much fun.
yeah.
It is,
You can make some people really upset with just, oh, Anduril is gone now. That's
I've
fun.
done that at least twice.
Or like the Crown of Morgul, or
Yeah.
just there's so many good targets for this kind of stuff, right? And if there's no good targets, you also have Tremor on them, which is also really good.
Yeah,
So,
it is. Yeah, it's a fun list. And the
It-
Balrog is always scary.
Yeah. I played one practice game against him where I was practicing Anor, and I made one mistake, and he punched through my line and got Melbath.
Ouch.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I was like,
Ugh.
3 dudes with Melbath saves will be able to hold him off. Nope, and he ran
Nope.
through, and Melbath failed all his saves as
Uh,
well.
did he whip Melbath into his into base contacts or no?
No, he heroic combat of 3 of my warriors who all failed their Melbath saves into
Oh,
Melbath.
oh man, that hurts. Yeah. He just needs that. You just need to roll 1/5 up to prevent that combat from going off, and it. Oh man.
Yep.
Yeah. Sucks.
I like how everyone's dogpiling on Fast 10 Wheel Wiki, and there's just in the chat, oh, you can do 2 Shadows Return on a 10 Wheel Witch King.
I mean, you could.
You have 6 shatters on a 10-wheel Witch King.
Yes. I mean, you have to cast them first, but
Yeah, it goes up on a 3+, I think.
3+, so 4 will go
Yeah.
off.
yeah,
Oh
on average.
man.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And then, if I remember correctly, we're going into the new stuff starting. Oh no, sorry,
No,
there's one more.
One more. Yeah.
One more.
One more. Which is Lake Town and Thorin's company.
Yeah. Wietse.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of dwarves.
Yeah,
Very
I think it's funny that I was mentioning earlier that Bifur is often allied into this stuff for the free move, and then we see an alliance like this and Bifur is not there.
No Pipper. Yeah.
But,
You
you
have
know,
Bomber.
it's got Bomber. Yeah, it's is Bomber the one that gives Alfred will back so that Alfred can then give might to Lake Town stuff again?
Ooh, that
That-
is very possible. I
I
have
think
no
so.
idea.
I think it's
Yeah,
Bomber
I
that
think
does
so.
that, right? I mean, Larry
Yeah.
would know because he's played Lake Town before. But I think that's the combo that you can do. You give Alfred a will, and then the next turn, because it starts before priority, Alfred uses that will to give it a might point again to like the Master or Braga, and then Bomber gives them a will again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a pretty nice combo. It's a bit slow, but it's basically infinite resources.
Is this a yellow alliance or is it green?
It's green.
This
Yeah,
is green.
green. Yeah. So the master still keeps his 6-inch fight for banner
12.
radius thing, right?
12
12?
inch.
It's
It's
12.
it's 6 in a
Okay,
yellow.
okay. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah, man. Does Thorin have his 3 heroic combats in this list from
No.
these? No, it's only in the Aragorn reclaimed list, right?
And Bilbo, of course, has the ring. Don't forget about that. And he doesn't have
Yep.
the ring saves, so you never have to worry about the opponent controlling him.
Yeah, but if he runs into one of the numerous Isildurs, he will
Yeah.
not have the ring.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. Isildur is like the second on the list, right? It's Sauron and then Isildur.
I believe so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
young Bilbo is the lowest.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah,
Gollum the
Maybe
lowest?
Gollum? I'm not sure.
Not sure.
Could be Gollum. Probably
Well,
Gollum.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good shout, DJ. I think it could be really possible with all the last lines going around that he might lose his ring in a game or two.
It would be funny at least.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
I mean, we were talking about the infinite might combo, but yeah, there's 17 might in the list, like people said in the chat, and also Braga has 3 stuff near the master, so like it's not like you're short on might or anything. But again, free might is free might. It's nice.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
And extra will is useful with the amount of magic going around.
Also true.
Even if it is
Yeah.
one a turn, it's still extra will.
Yeah,
True,
giving it to
yeah.
Thorin or something to just kind of keep fighting.
Hmm
Yeah, it's not bad.
So I do believe now we are going into the new stuff.
Yes.
Starting with Kevin, your list with the Battle of Fornost.
Yes. Hello.
The only one. There we go.
I feel unique. Yeah, so Battle of Fornos is one of the new Legendary Legions of the new supplement. It's elves and men, but not the last alliance. The more recent alliance, I guess you could call it. Yeah, I kind of dig it. I don't think this is a world beater or anything. I don't think it's the strongest list I could have taken. I just got really excited and wanted to take it to the tournament, so I decided to bring it. And I'm going to borrow some of Tim's models to do it because I don't really play or own many elves. But yeah, it's Glorfindel and Irnir, the last king of Gondor, as 2 main beatstick heroes, being a mixture of men of Minas Tirith and elves. And then Círdan as casting support. In this legion, every single model gets resistant magic, which means that Glorfindel has 3 dice to resist anything, which is really nice with how many
spending will.
before spending will, which is really nice with how many Witch Kings are floating around. Gondor Cavalry gets +1 fight on the charge. which includes Erner, so he's fight 7 on the charge. And then Erner can't have his courage reduced by any effects, which is helpful, I suppose, but not the end, like super crazy or anything.
And Erner can match fight value of enemy heroes he's fighting.
Yeah, but that barely matters. Like on the charge, the only hero that will, infantry hero, or no, sorry, the only non-monster hero that will have higher fight value than him is Gilgalad. And if he gets charged by them, then it's things like Glorfindel and other fight 7 heroes like Bolg and Azog and whatever that he can use that on. But
do you know, Kevin, is that an active special rule or no?
I assume so.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, because then if you get transfixed or compelled, you won't be able to use it.
Yeah, but he is already fight 6.
Yeah, true. But still, if you get specifically with the channel, which halves your fight value, I thought like, oh, that would be a neat trick to just go back up. But if it's an active spec rule, won't happen.
The only question I have with Erner is how he's affected by the ring and bat swarms.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the
which
TO,
is
so you.
something I'm going to have to make a ruling on, and I
yeah.
decided not to do that quite yet. I'm going to think about it a little more.
Yeah, so for the people who are wondering what we're talking about, so Erner's rule says that he does the copying after rules that affect enemy models' fight values happen, but before strikes. But things like the ring and bat swarms are like in continuous effect that kind of happen after strikes because a model's fight value is still halved after they have struck, so they're max capped out at 5. So it's a little bit unclear where, like, how that interaction went. So that's, I guess, up to you to make a ruling for. I'm personally really annoyed at the rules writers for this because they know the ring exists and they know bat swarms exist. So like,
especially with how popular bat swarms are at the moment.
Yeah. You know what I think?
Yeah.
I think you should give Kevin the advantage just for taking a theme list.
I'm not gonna comment on this.
Yeah,
that is the direction
but...
I was going towards anyway. Not for that reasoning, because that's how I think it's intended. But I haven't made my decision final yet.
I mean, to be fair, if you really look at it objectively, what else is the use for such a special rule if you only have 3 models in the game with which you can do so? Monsters are already excluded, which usually have higher fight values. And if you also then get the disadvantage of like the shield and ring debuffs, then like, what's the use?
Yeah, and it's doubly annoying that they've gone on record to say that there will not be an FAQ until the new edition, so we simply won't know. And Jay and Rob have also not commented on this on Facebook from what I've seen. Like sometimes they mention stuff like this if the community is like, what the hell? But they haven't done that either. There's arguments to be made both ways. I kind of agree with you. Like rules is intended, it probably should ignore bats and rings. Rules is written, it probably doesn't ignore bats and rings.
Yeah.
So there's arguments both ways.
Yeah, I asked a little while ago for FAQs for the new rules, and this was one of the rules I had in mind of what I'm going to have to FAQ beforehand.
Yeah.
Also because it just matters so much for how you move your models.
Absolutely, and there are quite a few bat swarms and ring bearers wandering around, so it will matter for me.
Yeah, I think the chance that you get to run into at least one of those is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Max mentioned in chat like it might be a preemptive written rule because they're going to change fight values in the new edition. Possible. Quite true.
Possible, yeah.
But it's hard, like we're just guessing at the end of the rules writers at this point. That's why I'm so annoyed at it, because we shouldn't have to. They know rings and bat swarms exist, they know how that works and how it's written, and then they wrote these rules and it's just not clear how they interact with it. At least not clear enough. Anyways, I'm excited to use the list. I don't think it's the best thing out there, but it's also not something that has any glaring weaknesses because the heroes are very resilient to magic. You have Kieran with blinding light against shooting. It doesn't have super low model count, doesn't have the highest either. It has a high fight value. The only thing I can see is like it could struggle killing defense 6. Like I don't like the matchup against Arnor, for example, which we'll see some lists of later.
Before we're going into Arnor, we're going into Angmar. And we'll start with, we'll ease ourselves into it with a conventional Angmar, I believe.
Yeah.
With Witch King, Gullivar, Barrow White, and a captain.
Yeah, so this list has nothing new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No werewolves, no nothing. It's just the Witch King of Angmar on a horse. It's Gulavar in there, a Barrow, and a cat. It's a traditional Angmar list, right?
Yeah.
It
I mean,
hits
it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
44 models with a beater in a Gulavar and still like enough magic to really, really annoy like big pieces,
Yeah.
big center pieces.
It is once again only 2 will on the Witch King and only 2 fate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Witch King can be annoyed or peppered with black darts, maybe. But then again, you also have Gullivar to contend with, so that
Yeah.
might be a little bit of a distraction target as well.
It's not like enemy casters can just do whatever they want because Gullivar is out there. You have to be really careful with your positioning, and that also
Yeah.
Mhm.
usually makes it harder to cast spells
Yeah.
because you don't have
And
that mobility.
if enemy casters just make one mistake, Gullivar is going to capitalize on it. So you really need to be on top of your no flies formation thing.
Yeah. No bows in this list, but let's be honest, Amhard isn't good at shooting anyways, so whatever.
Yeah.
No, you see most people add 1 or 2 honesty bows for maybe sniping a horse or something of that
Yeah.
type.
But I kind of respect just not bringing any. It's what I do with Eastlings
Mhm.
as well. Just like don't pretend you play the game. Just move and kill
Yeah.
things.
Duly
Um,
noted, Kevin.
Moving on to what I would not call a conventional Angmar. Though, if you look just at the heroes, it might look like it.
At first glance.
Yeah, we have a Witch King and Orc Captain on Warg, Gullivar, and a Barrow-wight. But then you look a bit closer and you see that there is one model here, one regular Orc, and the rest are all Warg Riders, Werewolf, or Deathmark Spectres.
Yeah. So this is like super high mobility, only 24 models, all Warg Riders, 3 werewolves. But then what's really strange is like there's the Barrel White and I think 2 Spectres. So there's and the one Orc with a bow. So there's 4
There's
models on foot.
Yeah, if
Uh,
you're not counting Gullivar, who's technically on foot, but
I
you
mean,
know.
yeah, you can
Yeah,
fly 12
he's on a
inches.
rock. He'll fly.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is
I mean,
what Yellow usually does. Like he just takes really fun and wacky lists, tries to make them work. He never plays something conventional, at least not that I've seen, and I love it. It's great.
yeah,
Will
me
it do
too, man.
particularly well? I don't know, maybe in some cases, but in other cases it might just horribly crash and burn.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
But I love it.
Yeah.
See how this does.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
compliments to
Rick
it-
says that the Barrow White used to be a shade, and then they changed the shade.
That makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean,
Um,
I really respect Yellow for taking a list like this. It's unconventional. It's unique. It's fun. It's fun to play with, fun to play against. I think you're probably not having really a lot of terror with all the big bases and all the high mobility you have with all the other models. So it's mostly probably a non-terror army. And I think it's a cool move of Yellow. So
yeah.
yeah,
This could be really scary. It could fall flat.
yeah, yeah.
We will see. Then moving on to the new ones, which is this is the first host of the Witch King.
Yep.
With Witch King, Shadow of Rudour, an Angmar Orc Captain with Warg and Shield, a Barrow-wight, and another Barrow-wight.
Yeah. I mean, 2 Barrow Whites is a pretty lethal combination. And the new Shadow, I'm really a big fan of. So, yeah, man. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what the new host of Witch King does, right? There's no second Ring Wraith to make more use of those rerolls, but you know it's got enough casting anyways as it is. It's not like it really needs the second Ring Wraith with this setup. The only thing that could be tricky is that the Shadow and the 2 Barrow Whites all only have 6-inch casting range. So
Yeah.
it might be tricky to get all of your spells like in on the target that you want to. Because then you have to clump up a lot. But yeah, it's 15 models with like a lot of magic, and the Witch King is pretty good at fighting in this legion. Like, don't forget, he's doesn't lose will for fighting it as long as he doesn't lose.
Yeah.
And fights 6 against humans is surprisingly relevant against like Bjornings, Easterlings,
And
Bannermere.
I think my biggest worry with the host of the Witch King Legion in general is it might struggle to kill things.
I mean, all the orcs can technically piercing strike, right? Because they can have picks.
Yeah,
Right.
but they do need to be modeled on then. You
Yeah.
don't know if everybody has it. I mean,
I mean, if
spoiler
somebody tells
alert.
me all my orcs have pigs, I don't usually make a problem out of it. But that's
I
more of a
mean,
TO thing than
Yeah.
anything else.
it's I'm a little bit two-sided on this, right? Because this list can probably do well. If you get up on, let's say, a top 10 spot, it is a Middle Earth League 100 point event. If someone would mention, like, in the rules pack, it says your models need to be WYSIWYG, and your models are not WYSIWYG because some have swords and other stuff, the person technically would be in the right. It would be a little bit
Hmm.
of a nitpicky thing, but on the other hand, if you want access on your models, put access on your models.
If someone complained about it as the rules pack is written, I would give them. They would be correct here, and they would have to be played WYSIWYG. But I would also expect that most opponents won't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, probably, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it's 15 models. Like
Yeah.
even if you don't have access, just win fights and roll sixes.
Yeah, fair enough.
So easy.
It's easy.
Yeah.
This might be one of the model counts where you might start thinking about a second banner as well with 50 models.
Yeah, but it costs you 4 models to take a banner.
True.
Larry, evil face.
Let's have a look at the other host of the Witch King list, which is Tim's list.
Yay!
Do tell us about your list.
Yeah. So, I've decided to take the new Legendary Legion because I tried out an old list setup without the shade and it sucked. Probably on advice, a strong recommendation on Kevin, I decided to test this out, and it's really scary. I've chosen for a setup with the two casters, with the Tainted and the Witch King, just to get the most advantage out of the Legion rules. And I've noticed that the Shadow of Rudour it complements the list really well because you do have a third Sap Will in this one. So if you're going up against like Witch King models and they want to get into combat, they do have to contend with the Shadow, who can be casting channeled Sap Wills on them, which they do not like at all. And you have to or Captain in there for the killing power, and like having two black darts being able to thrown in your face each and every turn is so oppressive. And you guys mentioned killing power, so I decided to take two two-handed orcs, two-handed axes, just to, if you can compel or pull models behind your line. The orcs are in there waiting. Hopefully they can charge them because a lot of the things have terror. So you can two-handed piercing strike for some extra damage potential. And yeah, I've played a few practice games with it. I think 4 or 5 right now. And I'm really impressed with what this Legion can do. So yeah, and 4 bows. So screw you, Kevin.
Larry just mentioned 3 sub will on a 10 will Witch King. Fun.
Yeah. So that's the idea, right? So it might be lacking a bit of killing power. Then again, the Shadow of Rudour is nothing to sniff at with fight 5, 2 attacks, and being able to do a bit of fighting himself. But if you have like big scary units such as a Smaug or a what are other models like a Irner or a other Witch Kings or other casters, they're just like turns in which you're able to cast 3 Sap Wills on them. White, how do you say it?
Reliably.
Reliably, thanks. That can be really scary, man, especially when there's a channel in there somewhere. So yeah, I'm really excited on seeing how this plays out.
Yeah, since I think we're at the end of the Angmar list now, I kind of
Yep,
want to
this
draw
is the last
attention to
one.
the fact that this Witch King of Angmar with 3 Might, 3 Fate, and 5 Will only costs 135 points because you're not paying for the Crown of Morgul. And you're getting
that's
6 terror bubbles on your orcs, and the Taint is also getting banner rerolls. So the bonuses for this legion are
casting rerolls.
pretty strong.
And resisting rerolls as well on
Yeah,
everybody,
Yeah,
or on both casters. Yeah.
it's nuts. And then like yeah, sure, 25 points for not having to pay for the crown, no big deal. But you also don't have to lose will for fighting, so then you can spend less points on will. And these orcs are pretty cheap, so that's like getting six free orcs just for taking this legion.
yeah.
It's yeah,
Yeah, it's nasty. It really is nasty.
it's nasty.
I mean, there are a few matchups that I'm not that excited about, especially like the Arnor matchups, and also your Legion as well, Kevin, with all the magic
I don't
resistance.
care about magic, man. Like,
Yeah,
come
I
on.
mean, if we get to face off against one another, I'm wondering how many black darts it will cost me to try and get rid of the horses on both Earner and Glorfindel.
Well, Inners will be
Uh,
relatively easy because you
True.
only has resistant magic.
Yeah,
Glorfindel
yeah.
might be a little bit tricky.
Might be a little bit more tricky, but yeah, I already had like a bit of banter back and forth with Larry about, oh yeah, no problem, and just wooing you on fours, right? It, I do have some tactics written up against it, but still, it's going to be really hard.
Mhm.
But everything that has low courage or everything that has like a single caster model or something like that, I'm willing to say that it's going to do pretty well against.
Yeah, so like the only thing you have to like watch out for with this list, and there's more lists out there that have similar things, right? If you get an engagement against an army that has a decent model count as well, and like fight four across the board, or like large banner effects, or both, then your warriors can just disappear. So you do need to, you know,
Yeah,
that's a weakness. Like it's happened against when
yeah.
like Lake Town Survivors or Army of Lake Town has a similar thing where yeah, sure, it's a really good list, but if you get a good engagement on them and you do win fights, they do disappear relatively
Yeah.
easily.
Like when I mentioned a while ago that I usually play against Thomas and his survivors list, that's when I have turns where I just lose 8 orcs because he keeps rolling sixes in the combats and just
Yeah.
goes ham on my orcs. And I've had games where I've been nowhere near break, but I've also had games where I was broken. So that's really something you need to be careful with. One thing to add is that the playing style of this list is a bit different than regular Angmar because terror is so prevalent. I'm not that afraid of Maelstrom scenarios because I can have a caster on two parts of my army. I'm not that worried about the army dividing up, like having a Witch King and a Captain on one side and a Tainted and a Shadow on another one. I'm less worried about that scenario right now than with my old army setup with Angmar.
Yeah, and the six
Yeah.
inch range on the Terra is also really strong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I do have like the free Warg Riders with throwing spears thrown in there just for the mobility. I
Yeah, I
think,
like it. There's also a bit of killing power, right? It's good.
yeah, well, usually the Warg Riders tend to fluff on me, but it's just for the mobility, right? So if you need to have certain models in a corner of the board or something like that, I can just move 15 inches with my captain, call a double march, and within 2 turns they're there.
Yeah.
So I tend to keep them back a little bit.
It
But
is
yeah.
interesting. Like, we should probably move on, but just like the last note,
Mhm.
I'm curious in like these last months of this edition, which Angmar is going to end up on top. Is it all going to be this Legendary Legion, or are we still going to see Angmar with like Gulavar in it? Like vanilla Angmar with Gulavar and werewolves, because this Legion doesn't get access to werewolves, and those are also looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
curious to see
yeah,
how that will pan out in the next few
yeah,
months.
same.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think how they perform in this tournament is going to give shape to that, at least in the Dutch meta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
So,
Yeah.
Shall
Yeah.
we look at
moving on from
Arnor?
Angmar, we have Anor.
Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah.
I love the reaction. So Jimmy
Uh,
has brought 50 models of Arnor, and this is the Army of Arnor Legendary Legion. All of the Arnor lists are the Legendary Legion. Arvedui, Arnor, Malbav, Argdir, so all of the named heroes, 2 of the new named
mhm.
heroes, and he's got 4 knights, so he bought 2 packs of knights or printed them, I don't know, for 50 models in total, and a single banner, 17 bows
Yeah.
between 16 warriors, and of course Arnor with the expert shots, so 18 shots per turn. It's gross.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Arnor, right? So, a bit of a off topic, but like Arnor was already strong. We knew this because it has won the Masters of Articon this year and won Articon last year.
Yep.
That was like 650 without any of the upgrades. And then it got Cavalry and Cavalry Heroes. And then it got a Legendary Legion that also like makes Malbeth better. So
I am a little disappointed in the Legendary Legion, not because it's bad, but because it's just Anor but better.
yeah, they've been doing that a lot as well, right? Because the Eastlings was the same thing. I was so disappointed that it wasn't like just a different way of playing Eastlings. It was like literally, no, take all of the new toys except like Kamul and keep your army bonus and also get these things. And that's the same that they did here. The only thing you lose here is the ability to ally, like, you know, Durin or whatever. That's what you sometimes saw. Or Hobbit archers, which, you know, it's not really a cost. Fan asks, what are the bonuses of the Legendary Legion? So the bonuses for the Army of Arnor Legendary Legion are fairly simple, but really strong. The Malbeth save, which is normally on a 5+. For heroes, it now is a 4+. So they're basically getting free fate points as long as they're within range of Malbeth. They keep the army bonus where Arnor models within 6 inches of Arvidui are basically fearless. And Malbeth also gains Elrond's Foresight rule. So he rolls a d6, gains so many Foresight points to influence priority rolls with. Do note that you cannot use this in Maelstrom if he's not on the board yet. So you can't use that to lose the priority for Maelstrom because it has been FAQ'd that rules like that are only active if the model is on the board.
Also, if you happen to miscalculate and the Balrog kills your Malbeth, the rule stops working.
Yes, you are indeed dead and can no longer foresight things because you're dead.
I mean, what would be like a rule to maybe offset like all the benefits that Arnor has gotten with this new Legion? Is that something that's going to need a bit of balancing, you think, or no?
Well, we're not going to get any balancing until the new edition, so it's kind of pointless to speculate, because what they might do in the new edition is also make the Warriors of Arnor a point more expensive, because they're technically 1 or 2 points undercosted at the moment, depending on how you analyze things. Which is also part of the reason why these lists are pretty potent, is just you don't pay a lot for your Warriors.
Yeah, well, speculating is always fun, right? But yeah, it's fair enough. We'll have to see what the new edition has in store.
Yeah, so it's mentioned in chat, Malbeth is pretty nice target to immobilize or transfix. That's true. Like, it's an active special rule. So this list does have magic weaknesses, but even without Malbeth, this list is really strong. We're still looking at 50 models with defense 6, fight 4, 17 bow shots behind them. And sure, the 5+ save is super annoying, but even without that, that's still really good.
That covers at most about half the army.
Yes.
Probably less.
But more importantly, it covers like your important heroes, like your leader, Malbeth himself, maybe Arnarf and Argadir, depending on positioning, and those will then become extremely difficult to kill with those 4+ saves. So,
those knights hit hard.
Yeah, it's a Ministry of Knight, but better. Same points, but 1 more fight value. I will say, though, the Courage 2 can be a problem because they tend to not be within 6 inches of Arvidui if they're going for objectives and stuff, and then Courage 2 sucks. So that's...
that is the danger with this list, is you have so many models, not everyone is going to be near Arvidui for the fairness.
Especially not Cav, right? Because it's usually on flanks.
Like
Deadmar Spectres and Wood Elf Sentinels really love the Knights here.
Yeah, unless they get charged first and die.
But that's usually what tends to happen if you get charged.
Yes.
with lanced cavalry.
Oh, don't start, Larry. Just don't start.
I'm also wondering in Anor, and I think the next list will sort of show that idea. No, this is Larry's list.
Yeah. So, unsurprisingly, with the work in progress pictures from Larry, he is working very hard right now to finish the models, but I think he's practically done, or almost done. It's very similar to the list we just saw. 1 more model, the same hero loadout, less knights though. I think there's just 2 in here.
He dropped 1 knight for an extra model.
3. Yeah, so 3 knights, 1 more model. That's it, basically.
So, one question I would have, we just finished recording a podcast where we discussed this, and Kevin and I both were not all that impressed with Aranarth. What would the choice be? And I'm mainly pointing this question towards Larry. Like, what is the consideration for taking Aeronarth besides a Arnor captain? Because those guys are like really good value as well, right?
Well, we'll have to wait a minute for Larry to type the answer, but
Yeah. Well,
like the,
at
the
least he's,
I mean, I
like the
can.
captain is 30 points cheaper, so you can
yeah,
bring more models. But do you really need more models if you already have 51 models?
yeah.
Arnarf isn't that impressive, but he does have strike, and
He
so
does a
that
strike. I think that is one of the bigger things. He has strike. He brings 3 might, 2 will, 2 fate. So he brings you some more resources. And he has the expert shot, which is helpful.
yeah, but it's on
Uh,
on
I mean,
strength 2 bow, so
yeah. I speak from experience with running Haldir in my first couple of tournaments. It's not all that impressive. It really isn't. It's like, oh man, he has 2 shots. That's cool. And man, the amount of times he just gets 1 shot or not even one,
hmm
I,
yeah.
I don't even
Yeah,
want to know how much that happens.
I think strike and a bit more might are the bigger factors there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
But it is nice to have the extra shot as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, yeah.
I don't
I
I don't
mean,
hate it in this points level. I think at 700 I'd just take the captain over him, but this is
yeah,
pretty good.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a point of comparison because the next list from Dirk is in fact with the captain, only not instead of Aronarth, but instead of Argadir.
Where's Argonier? Argonier is so much better than Aradar. It's not even close.
Yeah, agreed.
I also I shouldn't be surprised that Dirk is one of the people managing to finish an army of Arnor because he's probably had one all along because Dirk's collection is insane. Uh,
Dirk Helmers, right?
yes,
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
he has like a massive collection, and usually a lot of his armies are also heavily converted from like random eBay rescues and stuff. Like his ruffians are just like there's like 5 Aragorns in there that are just like chopped up and have like green stuff cloaks and stuff, which is really fun to see. But yeah, so it's very similar to the earlier list we saw. 4 knights in this list. Slightly less bows because I don't know why
uh,
actually.
and
Um,
2 banners.
2 banners. Oh, that's the big one. So basically downgrading Argadir to get an extra banner in there and an extra model or two.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
like that choice actually. I mean, you have such a big battle line in this that it means you usually can get split up. Having the
yeah.
banner in that second battle line, yeah, I like it.
I mean, I see the chat 2 banners is better than Argadir. I don't agree, but I would say 2 banners is better than Aranarf.
Yes, probably.
Just swap those around and keep your second banner.
Shots fired. 2 shots fired.
No, because
But seriously, like if you pull up Aranarf's profile and put him next to Faramir, and you know how I feel about Faramir,
Put him next
then
to Hellier instead.
yeah, I mean that's also it's the same category. It's just meh.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's just
yeah,
meh.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Army of Arnor is a really contender for being the strongest army in general, I think, at the moment. Because of the
Yeah.
bonuses on top of an army that already was good, and they now have mobility because of the knights and Argadir as well.
person who said 2 banners is better than Agadir just realized that they read it wrong and quote, "Why is the ranger hero in there?"
That's the point we're making. Anyways, despite like that, like honestly, it's still really strong. 52 models, mostly fight
Yeah.
for D6. Well, it's all fight
Yeah.
for, mostly D6.
Yeah.
It's strong.
And what I really hate is that both Derek and Larry, those are 2 people I know of, maybe Jimmy as well, are experienced players as well. So
Yeah.
they're not gonna mess up. And screw you for that. Just make mistakes, please. Yeah.
Jimmy is not super experienced, but he is good at the game.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Larry makes an interesting point. There's no assault of Lorien at all.
No, correct.
Yeah. That's because Larry isn't taking it.
Yeah. And there's also
The-
no
the-
Great Beast on this tournament.
Correct.
True.
Even though I read through the whole FAQ extra Great Beast FAQ document you sent me.
Yeah, well, honestly, if the supplement had come out, I was going to take
Yeah.
a Great Beast. I would take Great Beast, Shadow Lord, Witch King. I think that's it. And then, like, a whole bunch of Orc Trackers and stuff.
Yeah. I prefer what you're taking now, Kevin.
Dirk is saying this army was collecting dust for years.
Oh, it's your time to shine.
Yeah, it's gonna collect bodies instead right now.
And Fan suggests that Arnor armies will absolutely destroy Angmar. That is correct. They have hatred of Angmar all around.
Oh man.
Yep.
I mean, I'm just going to have to play the objectives, right?
I mean, that's what you
Yeah.
always have to do. It doesn't
Yeah.
change.
Well,
Larry is saying that he's surprised, or at least he was afraid of the new, quote, now useful shade.
just shut up. No,
The,
no,
the new
just
shade
no.
is actively bad, I think.
Yeah, the new shade is again in the mid tier. Just wait for our podcast to drop at the end of this week or something like that, and we can have a big
I
discussion.
mean, we've been referencing it so much now. Now you have to edit it real quick to get it out.
Yeah, probably right. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's like Angmar armies and other armies are that have the same type of weaknesses are really going to struggle with this.
Yep.
It's just a fact. I mean, I might have some tricks up my sleeve. I've been playing games against Larry in my head. I think for the last 2 weeks right now with the release of this army and thinking how I would survive.
Well, I think
Spoiler.
honestly, like the mortar lists can do quite well against this because they don't have hatred against that, and then you still have one or two casters that can turn off Malbuff and fight against it. I also think the just by brawling the Emperor Legion or a Benemer list could work if Malbuff doesn't roll too hot and just saves everything, because you then have the fight value and banner effects to just hopefully win most fights and get similar model counts, like 40-ish. Like you'll be outnumbered a little bit, but not too much. It could work,
And
but
we
it's
did see quite a few Mordor lists that were below the 40 model mark, right? So
Yeah.
you're tied on fight value because of the Black Numenorians, but once one or two Black Numenorian die and you get to the back rank of Moranans, they have fight free, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still give the advantage to Arnor, to be fair. Plus, Arnor is wounding orcs on fives, not defense six orcs, but regular orcs on fives, and you're wounding them back on sixes.
yeah. Yeah, that's why you bring a Great Beast.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
transfix Malbuff, then you run a Great Beast into the army and just
yeah. Watch it implode. I mean, what would be fun is watching the list of Rainier going up against one of the Arnor lists.
no,
Right?
it won't do anything. It'll hit
It
the
will
second Arnor
bounce off
warrior
of a
and just
Melba
stop.
save.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wounded would get saved. Yeah, man, it's so oppressive.
'Cause you need fives to wound them, and you have two dice, so that's only
Yeah.
55% chance that you wound them in the first place. And then a third of those times, it's just saved by Malbuff, so
Yeah, true.
it won't do anything.
True. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tricky. I think that brings us to the end of the list, right?
No,
Nope,
there
actually,
was
there's
still
one
the
more.
ringer.
The ringer list,
The
which
surprise.
is made up of stuff I had lying around that I can lend out to the ringer. I had either this or elves, and the ringer had a strong preference for bringing a trebuchet.
I mean,
I love
okay.
it.
It's the only siege engine, well, the only splash damage siege engine, volley fire siege engine thing in the tournament, because we do have two Isengard ballistas and a dwarf ballista.
Yeah.
This might do surprisingly well against Anor.
Mm.
No.
Mm.
No.
Mm. But I mean, a ringer list is intended to have a fun game, right?
Yeah.
It does not need to be very gamey and like top of the line competitive. Like it's there to have fun.
I mean, it also
so-
shouldn't be a pushover, because like especially in round one, you just don't want to give
Yeah.
someone a free win, right? So
Of
you
course,
do
but-
have to work for it a little bit.
I mean, is this a pushover? I mean, it's not a fully optimized list, sure, but is it a pushover?
No.
I brought it to a tournament and have won at least one game with it.
No,
Not
I
exactly
mean, this is
list,
fine, like-
it was a 700-point version.
Like you could optimize this list, because like Theodred is arguably better than Eomer as a ally, simply because of the killing power and things like
Yeah.
that. But it's fine. It is just pretty good.
And key there is that I don't have Theodred.
Fair. That's a good argument not to bring Theodred.
You could have borrowed him,
I could have.
but yeah, it's fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, this
but-
is a good ringer list, and it's
Yeah.
even a point down. So then you can always say that you're giving your opponent an advantage.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah, I did hear today that there's a small chance that the guy who's borrowing my Balrog drops out, and then the Balrog might become the ringer list.
Oh god. But do you need a ringer list at that point? Because isn't that an even
I think
number then
it's
again?
even
I've
numbers.
learned from previous experience to always have one at hand.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um,
No, we also didn't see any Bjornings in these lists as
correct.
well.
And also no Black Riders.
Yeah, no Black Riders,
No
no
Vanquishers.
Vanquishers.
Very happy
Yeah.
with all of those.
Vanquishers don't work very well at 750. I think they need about 800. Or they're at 750. They'll be playing quite a few points down, won't they?
Don't ask me. I really don't care about Vanquishers. I'm just happy not seeing them.
It's just
Fair.
a filthy list. Like, go away.
Yeah, no Vanquishers, no AOL, no Black Riders.
Yeah, we do have the Rise of the Necromancer, but that's a far much more fun play experience.
Yeah, you actually play the game. They just come back all the time, but you can still play the game.
You just play whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's whack-a-mole. Yeah, exactly. Which is fun. It's a fun experience.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the last of the lists, right? Now.
Are all the lists.
Yeah. So maybe we can ask Chad if they have any questions or anything they want to ask Dirk Jan.
In the
before the
meantime,
tournament?
I have one more thing to reveal here, which will be the trophy. Which we have here.
Oh, that's a pretty one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is
It
it
doesn't
the
show
full-
up very well on camera, but there is in fact paint on here.
Yeah, it's the lighting angle. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is in fact Ian Holmes as Bilbo.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean,
I love that.
what else can you give on a celebration of his birthday, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only choice was, do I get Ian Holmes or do I get Martin Freeman?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Oh, one question I was meaning to ask you, Dirk Jan, with regards to the tournament. In the pack, in the rules pack, there's also mention of a Matham hunt.
Yes.
Could you maybe expand a bit?
This is heavily inspired by Michael Bradford's Silmarils.
Mm-hmm.
Because having a bonus objective is just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But partly to not blatantly steal everything he did and to fit it a bit better in theme, I made it a Matham hunt. Because for those who haven't read the books in a while, Mathams are little items of very little actual value, but probably family significance, that hobbits pass around as gifts to each other.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So emotional value.
Yeah, and a lot of these have gathered up in a museum of sorts in Michael Delving called the Matham House.
Okay.
So for now we've said, it's been robbed, please help us retrieve the Mathams. Each board will have one of them somewhere on the board. These will not always be in the middle. Me and my one minion this weekend will be running around between rounds to put the Mathams in nice places.
Yeah, okay.
They will look something like this, only painted. So I have 20 of these little chests to still paint before the weekend.
Yeah.
Because I was out of primer and could only get some more today.
And people can, I think the objective is that they can pick it up. They don't have to dig for it, right?
Correct,
And
they are
they
just
can-
lying around, light objects, and you have to move them off the board.
Exactly, yeah, okay. And there will be a prize for the person who collected the most fathoms at the end of the tournament.
There is another Bilbo bust for the one who gathered the most.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
what will you do if there are several people who gathered 6 fathoms?
I will most likely have the tiebreaker be the tournament score.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah,
And is it
makes sense.
highest or lowest?
Highest.
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
I see someone in the chat asking, like, hey, can you walk us through the scenarios which we'll be playing? Because he's new. I'm just going to share my screen real quick.
Yeah. So the scenarios is a veto system. This means both players get. We roll a pool. All pools will come by. You both roll a die. Whoever rolls lowest vetoes one of the scenarios in the pool first. Then the other person vetoes, and that's how you arrive at a scenario to play.
Yeah, so every round you'll get one of these pools, and then you have to choose between the ones. And the pools generally are scenarios that are similar in nature, just different in execution. So there are some key factors you can influence there. If you don't have the match play guide, drop me a message in the Discord. I will send you a digital copy. Then you can read these scenarios in advance to prepare a little bit, because it is generally a good idea to have an idea for which scenarios you like in each pool and which ones you don't like in each pool. So you don't have to like on the spot be like, which one I'm gonna veto. Like you've already kind of gone through that process, like which one is the best for me in general. And then you only have to maybe change your decision based on which army you're playing against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I don't think any other people had any questions, right?
I don't see any in chat, so unless we're missing some again and Kevin has them on his screen.
Nope, nothing new.
Well, I for one am really excited for the tournament. I think much respect that you decided to organize the only 2-day tournament besides the GT we have here, Dirk-Jan. So much respect for that.
So far, there is still time for others to hop in.
Oh, sure, yeah, there is, but still, you're the first besides the GT, which is worth mentioning, I think. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really excited to see how the new legions start to play out and how everybody will do. And we also saw some new names being entered in the lists, at least names that I don't know of. And I think that was the same for Kevin as well. So it's always exciting to meet new people. And yeah, really excited.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the new list will do as well.
Yeah.
Really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm also really excited. There's new people coming. There's a few of the standard names who aren't coming due to life reasons, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that just with how many of the regular names aren't coming and we still basically sold out is honestly speaks to how amazing the Dutch community is at the moment.
Yeah.
It's in a really good spot.
And talking about the GT, on the Saturday evening, for people sticking around in Amersfoort, the sale will go up for the next GT in Alblasserdam at 8 o'clock at night, I think. So people might be looking out for that.
Yeah, and I think the early bird is available for patrons of the White Scars a few days before that. It might actually be today.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So, I believe it is in fact today.
So I'm gonna go grab a ticket.
I'm not a Patreon member, shame on me, so I'll wait till next Saturday.
Yeah, I'll have to wait until Saturday as well.
But yeah, definitely be on time because there's also a lot of international interest in the GT, of course. So
yeah,
if you plan on going, get your ticket early.
I did book my hotel room already, so I did make a start.
I'm still looking for someone to share a hotel room with, so...
Yeah, I think my girlfriend wouldn't be happy if you joined us, Declan.
That's fair, yeah.
I see a question in the chat. Dirk-Jan, how many people are entering a board for the board competition?
There are 4. There were more, but quite a few people didn't quite manage to get their board done in time. So we have 4 entrants now.
I'm bringing my own Osgiliath board as well, but I won't be entering it into the competition because I'll be a judge in the competition.
Yeah, I was about to say, for those worried that they don't have a chance against Tim's board, he will be judging.
Is that Osgiliath board like the one that was at the bottom tables of the GT last year?
Yeah.
Is that going to be one of the boards that we're playing on?
Yes, probably going to be bottom table, I think, right, Dirk-Jan?
I'm not sure if it will be bottom table, but it will be in that region.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because for safety, I'm putting all the best board entrants also on bottom tables, just in case they compromised a bit on playability.
Yeah. I'll use a different setup for the board compared to the last year, the GT, Kevin, to make it a bit more playable in the center of the board.
Awesome. Yeah. No, absolutely gorgeous board, but for some lists, really hard to play on. So.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, sure. Dirk-Jan asked me to bring it, and
oh no, I totally agree. It's gorgeous. I just don't want it anywhere near the top tables.
Yeah. Fair enough, man.
This has been considered.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to see what people are bringing for their boards. I am entering into the best painted competition, so I won't be judging that one.
That is a player vote, not a judge competition.
Yeah, fair enough.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, I think that concludes our chat. We've been going on for exactly 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we did quite okay going through them all in a time.
Yeah, I was worried
worried
we'd
about
be
the
like
time.
going for 3 hours or something with 40 lists, but this was okay.
I think last time with the 1,000-point tournament we did 20 lists at about the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. For those of you that join us live, and also thank you for watching if you're watching this later. Once again, super excited for this tournament. Our first taste of the new supplement and a 2-day event in the Netherlands. Always cool. Really excited for that. So thank you so much for organizing and joining us today, Dirk-Jan. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, and if anyone has any questions about the tournament, send me a message on Discord or send me an email. My contact information is all over the place for this type of stuff.
Yeah, amazing.
So yeah.
Okay.
We'll be seeing you all on Saturday morning.
Yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. See you on Saturday morning, nice and early.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.